Hello and welcome to Knights of the Hobby Table. I'm your host Blake, here with the abominable Oblerone. How you doing, brother?
Abominable. It sounds like Obama Snow. Like
Abominable.
Me like Ogren. Me like Thuck Thump. But
Obama Oblerone. Oh no.
Where are we going with this?
Abominable. How you doing, man?
Surprisingly really well, so
Yeah.
it's been a good
Yeah.
it's been a good week at work, to be honest. Now I was looking a little bit towards not having a great time, but it's way better than I expected, so
I love when a shitstorm turns out unexpectedly good.
yeah.
You're like, oh, this is gonna fucking suck, and then you're like, hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I don't mind that.
exactly. It's like, it's pretty alright. I can actually see myself being here more, even though it's like 1,500 meters under the ground. So
That's terrifying.
Yeah,
That's terrifying. You're a mole man now. You can turn into a squat down there.
So what happened is I took on like a quick electrician job. Well, quick, like 2-3 weeks or something in the mines. So I'm going under the ground. Yeah. I was thinking it would suck. Yeah. No, but it turned out really fine. It's like it's really nice work, and the place, despite being like super muddy and everything, the workplace is really nice. But
I suppose at least it's probably not cold down there, right?
no, man, it's like 20+ degrees in there.
Yeah, whereas it's like fucking minus whatever up top for you.
Yeah. Like this whole week we've had -1 to 5 or something, so not really that cold, but
Yeah. Dude, it's bizarre, man. The world is going haywire, right? Because it is the first day of summer here in Australia, right, in Queensland. And it is only 16.4 degrees right now at night.
Yeah.
It's like winter weather, and no one knows what to do, because usually it's like 35 degrees right now.
Yeah. No, but it's the same for us. Like it's supposed to be a lot colder around this time of year.
You were freezing your nuts off this time last year, I remember.
Yeah.
Fighting polar bears with your nipples and stuff, I remember this.
Yeah, I'm having nipple offs.
Nipple offs.
So,
that's fine.
What are we going to talk about this episode?
Good question. I was thinking we should talk about stamp collecting. No, I'm joking. We should talk about airbrushes.
Yeah, that's true. I've recently had a couple of friends buy a airbrush, and they were like, I don't really know how to do this, what to do with it.
My little brother got one as well, so this will be helpful to him, hopefully. And look, they're a good tool that goes across many hobbies.
Yeah.
Like, just because you have an airbrush doesn't mean you're doing Warhammer. Like, you can be literally painting murals on the wall with it. You can be doing a carb on it. You could be doing fucking Gundams or whatever model kit. You can do anything
guitars even,
like that.
You can do everything.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's just... We're going to be going over it more from a miniature point of view today. But the stuff still transfers. You know, like cleaning practices, all that stuff. It's all going to transfer. Transferable skills is what this podcast is all about.
Exactly. More than one use.
That's right. That's right. With a Swiss Army knife of podcast, let's fucking go.
Exactly. Cool, man.
But first of all, what have you been up to in your hobby, Obi? What have you been doing?
Fuck you, Paul. You ruined this one.
What do you mean? What did Paul do?
Yesterday evening, he was like, "Oh, I already know what Obi's gonna say next episode."
Like... I know what you're gonna say too, because I've been there for some of it.
Alright. I've painted a lot of miniatures. I finished my whole backlog. It's true. It's not a lie. I've not been playing Darktide at all.
Okay, now stop lying to our loyal listeners. They deserve better than that.
Yeah.
Okay. And just admit that gaming is a hobby so you can get off clean for once.
No, that's not a hobby. It's just a time waste.
Oh, so you've been wasting time instead of hobbying, is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I have. That's basically what happened.
Unlike you, I've been hobbying because I've been playing video games.
Okay. No, but I did do a little bit of hobbying. I don't remember if I said that last episode, but I clear coded my Dreadnought and I started basing them now. It's taking me a long time, and I started rubbing off more paint of miniatures, and yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, Opie's really into rubbing it out, you know?
Rubbing one off, yeah. That happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, but this weekend I'm hoping to finish up the basing, do a couple of more clear coats on my Dreadnought to make the panels all smoother, and on to the next project, which will be Custodes.
I like it. I'll be there with you doing Custodes as well.
Yep. It's
because they got free ones.
Yeah. I think I might just prep them this weekend so that we can actually do it together.
Yeah, I got a couple that I have to strip. Some I'll get away with not stripping, but some of them are just god awful and they need to go in and be stripped.
Yeah.
So
I think that's...
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how people fuck these things up this bad, eh?
Yeah.
Like, how do you fuck up a spray coat?
Oh, yeah. Well, it happened. Don't buy Army Painter spray caps. Because that's why I kind of bought an airbrush. Just to get rid of
I'm
these.
just perplexed. Anyway.
Yeah, so
nice.
that's it for me. What about you, man?
I've been led astray by a certain spider-haired co-host into playing quite a bit of Darktide.
What?
Yeah, you. Actually, I wasn't even going to buy Darktide for quite some time, and then good old Polly actually bought it for me, so shout out to Polly once more. Yeah. I appreciate that, brother. You know, he just wanted me to be included, and then Obi's like, please play with me, ooh-woo. So then I played Darktide, and you know, it's cool, it's fun. But I've actually been doing real hobbying as well. I haven't played any Warhammer, but I got some guitar playing in the other day. I played for probably half an hour.
Huh?
Which, considering how busy I've been, that was like, yes. You know, it was like breathing between sentences. It was a luxury. Anyway, and I also, when we were at Office Works the other day, my girlfriend loves Office Works. It's just like, stationary stuff is her shit. So, but I bought myself just a packet of like different grade pencils with like an eraser and a fucking sharpener and a new sketch pad. So I've been doing a little bit of sketching here and there, and I've been having a blast with it.
Yeah, it's looking real good too. I'm amazed how good you
are. I'm one of those people. I'm just like okay at a lot of things, you know. Like I can draw, kinda. I can play guitar, kinda.
Well, that's my thing. You and me then.
I can kinda do things, but no. I mean, look, I have fun, and that's what it's about. So. And it's about practice too. So. Hell
yeah. That's cool.
Oh, and I've been learning a little bit of Japanese as well.
Konnichiwa.
Yeah. Yeah, but just like I learned the basic stuff. It's an app called Duolingo. Not sponsored, but you know. But like I'm just learning the basic stuff like how to order food and stuff like that. Which I figure once I know how to order food in Japan, what else do I really need? Like, I'm good.
Show me to the Gundam room.
I'm just gonna wear a Gundam t-shirt and point to it and be like, Gundam, where?
Money, where?
Or maybe I'll just start shouting at the top of my lungs like, it's a Gundam! And they'll all just point in the right direction. I'm sure it'll work, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. There's only one way how it could work. Correct.
Yeah, exactly. But nah, me and the missus are hoping to get better at it and go over there for a trip probably in 2024. Do some retro game shopping, pop in and see our good buddy Ursats. You know? And then I'll take a photo with Ursats, doing the peace sign and send it to you, and then you can respond with your tears in your eyes. Like how
Joke's
sad you
on
are.
you. Maybe I'll get to see Sam too.
come to Japan when I'm there. Then we can all hang out. I'll buy you ramen.
That's not a selling point, but sure.
It's not? You don't like ramen?
Nah, there's better things in life, but...
No way, man. Pork belly ramen is chef's kiss. Anyway, yeah, that's what I've been up to. Rambling, as always. Yeah, cool. So let's get to today's episode. Yeah. I reckon we should probably start with some basics of... just the basics of, like, what is an airbrush. What do you think?
Yeah, so the airbrush, it's like a barrel-shaped thing that will shoot out air, and then it will shoot paint through it with the air. So it's pulling the paint out and spraying it out like a little bit like a spray can. Same system, just more controlled. There's like a few different types of airbrushes. You usually define them by different types. Like one of the defining types is the way the paint is being fed through the air.
Yeah.
One of them being gravity fed and the other being bottom fed.
Yeah. So the gravity fed is usually what you'll find in miniature painting, right, man? Like,
yeah.
When most people that do miniature painting and whatnot usually see them with a gravity fed brush and whatnot. Yeah. But when people are doing stuff like, I think when they do makeup and like that sort of more stuff, I've seen people use the bottom fed ones.
Yeah.
So.
The main difference between gravity basically means that the paint cup is on the top, so it will basically siphon down by gravity, and then the air will just draw it out and shoot it straight onto your object, your canvas or miniature or whatever you're painting on. The bottom fed will be just like a little tub where you pre-mix the paint in, and it'll have like a little rod in there sucking up the paint. It's for most uses, most applications that we use in Warhammer, Gunpla, whatever, it will be a gravity fed type.
I think the bottom fed ones are they get used quite a lot for stuff that needs quite a bit of material. So like if you were doing, say, a bigger project, like, something really big, like often with like thicker mediums, then I think the bottom fed ones are much better.
Yeah.
Like when they're doing makeup, for example, I imagine that stuff's quite thick.
Yeah.
So I think they use those because it's like if you're doing someone's whole body or whatever, fucking tan, like that's a lot more than needing 20 mils in a fucking little metal cup.
Yeah, that's right.
So so the way you trigger the gun, they can also be different as well. You got single or dual action. Single action means the air and paint will come out without real control. So less advised for sort of really fine detail stuff like what we work on here mostly.
Yeah,
but
basically like a spray can bigger, again.
Yeah, but if you're doing big shit, you'll probably be fine. You know? Dual action is without a doubt the better option for miniatures in particular, and this is what Obi and I both use.
Yeah.
So basically what it does is when you press the little button down for air and you pull the trigger back, it'll slowly pull a needle back, which releases paint and air at different volumes. So like if you pull it all the way back, that's full paint and air mixture. If it's like just back a little, it's quite light. So you can do OSL effects and things like that using that quite easily, like just really fine movements of it.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
It's quite tricky at first, but once you get the hang of it and you can get some control in your hand, very handy.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a really good balance between the air pressure and amounts of paint and like the distance towards your object that you're painting as well.
Yeah.
So what I kind of suggest before you actually put paint on a miniature would be to do it on a piece of paper. Just to see the different effects of, I'm holding it too close, I'm blasting too much air and the paint's just running everywhere.
Yeah, because you don't want it spider webbing either.
No,
that can happen. It can spit it. It can spatter. Yeah. So definitely, especially if you're using expensive minis, Warhammer, whatever. It's better to just have a little bit of a dry run, even if it's not on paper, even if it's like just a random thing, like paint a pot of your paint, you know, and the color that it is. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I paint. I had an airbrush booth at the same time, and I basically just scribbled in the airbrush booth because then it would just suck out the fumes straight away too.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
but how are you supposed to get high off the paint fumes then, huh?
Oh, I got a little good Timbit about that later on about the fumes,
and I'll tell you how to not do things as well.
Perfect. Yeah.
Because we both know I don't have a paint booth.
Yeah. That's
anyway.
It's definitely, like I said, experiment a little bit before because you know what you use the airbrush for will also kind of depend how much paint you're giving or how much air you're giving. So like doing like glow effects, you said lower air pressure, a little bit of paint every now and then, small bursts of paint. If you're doing primer, you want a lot of paint flooding, not really flooding, but just covering a lot of paint, a lot of surface fast. So
just before we move on, though, I will say, as well as those types of triggers, like those types of mechanisms, you can also get trigger style ones, like a gun.
Yeah, like a gun. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of those unless you're doing priming. They're fine for priming, and bigger stuff, but I find that when I'm trying to do details, it's much easier to basically have a pen grip than it is to have a gun grip. Like, you're sort of fucking, it's like you're shooting the model. It's not for me.
Yeah.
A more traditional dual action paint style one works better for me.
Yeah, the gun.
But I just thought I'd point that out, that they do exist.
Yeah, the gun trigger is basically a single action one. So
yeah.
That's.
But instead of a little toggle on top, it's like a trigger.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's a little bit of the basics, at least. What do we need for airbrushing? What do we need to get started?
Yeah, look, that's a good question. First thing I can think of off the top of my head is just a little airbrush compressor.
Correct.
Not one of those big motherfuckers at your garage, because that's gonna piss the missus off when you're painting at 3 a.m. But, I mean, mine would be like, why? And they go to bed. She wouldn't be mad, but you just gotta, for those ones with angry missuses, you gotta be careful of the old decibels late at night. But you basically, you can get them quite cheap, even off eBay.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like, I have an eBay compressor, and I've had it for probably 6-7 years now, and it's never failed me. Yeah. There's probably some nicer ones out there, but it works. The only thing I'd upgrade on it would be I'd get one of the ones with the small tanks. Yeah. That way, when it compresses the air, it has like a store of air, and you get more level air pressure rather than drops and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I will be upgrading that once I replace the parts I've dissolved in my airbrush with cleaner. I got some pro tips for you guys, trust me.
Yeah,
I learned the hard way.
I basically figured that one out straight away. Like, if I want a good consistent flow of air, I need a tank. And it wasn't that much more to get one with a tank, so just spend like $20 more, I don't know what it is, and get the tank.
And it's still not breaking the bank. You're probably paying, $120 or something, maybe off eBay or Amazon or...
Yeah.
Like, if you're in the States, you get shit for, like, dirt cheap like that anyway,
Yeah, definitely. And like, a decent compressor will last you a long time. Like, spending a little bit more money on the compressor is highly advisable. What I would say is, like, if you buy an airbrush, the first one you'd buy, I'd say buy a dirt cheap one, like the cheapest that you can find, ish, almost. Just because you will fuck it up at some point, and getting into proper like cleaning habits. It's good to practice that on a cheaper one instead of like $120 one.
I don't wanna talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. So compressor definitely needed. We also need a hose to connect the compressor to the airbrush. Simple, just there's a few different ones. There's like ones with quick release, and the normal ones you just screw them on. It's a hose. Nothing can go wrong here.
If you're really lucky, you can actually buy a little set off eBay that will come with a really shitty airbrush and your compressor and all your little hoses. And then when you get a nice new airbrush, you can fucking eat the old airbrush over the back of your head and use the hoses on your nice new airbrush. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's definitely what I suggest. There's like a couple of really good bundles, like you said, on eBay or Amazon. Definitely highly advisable to start with.
Preferably eBay, so you don't give money to Jeff Bezos, the weird alien motherfucker.
They think he's related to Mark Zuckerberg.
Is he?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Have you seen?
They're probably from the same clutch of eggs, you know.
Probably.
I'm so mean tonight because it's like 3 a.m. and I'm just like, fuck humans. But not my listeners, because you guys are great. Big ups. Oh, that's funny. The other thing is too, man, is the airbrush itself. You know, you need the unit, and like I said, you can get one in a package or whatever, but if you get into using them, you're probably going to want something a little bit nicer pretty quick. I'm not sure. Have we got a thing? Are we planning on talking about nice brands later, Obi? Is that a thing?
Nah,
no,
really.
it's not. That's alright. So I personally have an Iwata Neo, which is sort of a really good beginner airbrush. Cost me like $130. Yeah. So that one's quite nice. It feels really good in the hand. Badger also do them, but I'm pretty sure Tamiya make a quite cheap one designed to go towards more like Gundams and stuff like that. Yeah. So there's a few of those sorts of ones around as well. Yeah. But I really like Iwata. I've heard Badger's amazing, except for the fact that all of the connectors to it are Imperial instead of metric or vice versa.
They're American brands.
So you gotta run like converters and this and that. Fuck that. Just buy the Iwata or the what one do you have over your pretty one that me and Drunken got you?
The Harder and Steenbeck. They also have a cheap one, very reliable, easy to get parts for. It's a German brand, so they have a lot of spare parts.
Can't go wrong with German engineering.
Exactly. My first one was one I bought in a local store. To be honest, it's a store that sells car parts. So it's like,
whoa, okay,
yeah. I was like, oh, cool, they got airbrushes. Oh fuck, I'll buy one. It's like $250, like $25. It's like, fine, this works.
Is that one of those stores that does like a department store for cars? They sell all your mats and seat covers. For the Aussies, it's basically super cheap.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's cool. I think Bunnings here sells, which is like a hardware store. Yeah, they sell airbrush things and stuff.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, a cheap one is fine. Like really cheap one, because if you're just gonna use it for priming, it's eventually primer is a little bit thicker and stickier. You will ruin it, so you have to tear it apart, clean it thoroughly, and if you lose a ring here and there or lose some parts, it's like, this was only $25. Chug it out and buy a respectable one. So
one thing I will say, there's this company, I'm just looking it up now. It looks like they're called Gunze, and they do Gundam marker airbrushes.
Oh yeah.
Now, I haven't tried them, but I would avoid that like the fucking plague.
Yeah.
Because Gundam markers aren't cheap. And, like, if you ever left the lid off your fucking connector pens when you were a kid, you know that they dry out. So, like, why would you blast air at your Gundam marker?
Yeah.
You know? Like, just cut out the middleman, buy a fucking hairbrush.
Yeah.
You know? Like, a real one.
Yeah. There's also, like, these cheap battery-powered airbrushes going around. I know
Oh, yeah.
Ninja reviewed one, and he was like, it's okay, it works if it's within your budget. If you don't have the budget to buy a compressor, a big one, and a separate airbrush, I mean, I get it. I would have gone for that too, just to try it out. But in the end, like, spend a little bit of money on the compressor, and you can just change out the airbrush later on. Probably around for the same amount of money. So
exactly, it's always one of those things with like hobbying. You don't have to buy the most expensive tools, but just understand that sometimes the job you get will vary depending on the quality of tool you're using.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need the most expensive brushes, but if you have complete shit versus, like, decent, there will be a difference in your miniatures. It's the same with airbrushes, you know?
I mean, like, I tend to have at least one really good normal brush around, just to do like these really good, like really specific things, like painting faces and eyes and stuff like that.
Yep. So I'm the same. I have 3 synthetic brushes that I paint with, usually G-Dub ones because they're not that expensive. Yeah. And I have 1 sable hair with a nice thick belly and a fine tip. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. The rest is just...
Oh, and makeup brushes for airbrushing. No, airbrushing, dry brushing.
Yeah. That's definitely a good one. Cool. So these are kind of the parts that connect together, and you kind of also need some products for the airbrush.
Yeah, that's right.
So a couple of them being thinner and a flow improver. You could go around with just a thinner, but a flow improver will just not, like, the paint won't stick to your needle as fast. And
I actually use flow improver as a thinner.
Yeah, it works, but it's not really designed to deal with the pigments in the same way as a thinner is. So, yeah.
I learned a thing.
Yeah, like there's a couple of tests on YouTube probably where they use the different products with the same amount of paint and whatever, and just they show you what the differences are between them. Because it feels really dumb. It's like 2 clear liquids look the same, just a different name. Like it might as well just be fucking water in there.
I mean, to me, I very much went with I'm just going to jump in and do this. I looked up fuck all about it. All I knew was I needed to make my paint like milk, and I knew how to work it, and that's it. I didn't bother too much beyond that. So everything I've learned has been from mistakes.
Yeah,
you know.
Then me, I'm the person who goes in depth on everything, like reviews and look up things everywhere here and there, and try and get the best information as possible, so that when I actually get into it, I somewhat have a good idea of what to do.
Maybe that's why your bits are rubbing off and mine aren't. Because I'm not thinning it. I'm using flow improver. Because I've picked up my Dreadnought. Like, I play with it all the time. Yeah. I've not lost any paint off it.
Yeah. I don't know.
You gotta talk about
it. It could be that I'm thinning it too much as well, because that's kind of what I do. Spray in some thinner and then just the paint after, and then I mix it together. And it's probably too much thinner in there for what I'm doing. Yeah. So those are 2 products for your paints, and then I also recommend a cleaner, airbrush cleaner. It will get rid of the gunk inside your airbrush, the needle, make it all nice and pretty, and you can spray paint again.
Yeah, I got a Tamiya airbrush cleaner.
Yeah.
Yep. It smells fucking bonkers.
Did you know that it's probably the same product as plastic cement?
Probably. I don't know. It smells like your drunk uncle at Christmas. You know?
Yeah.
But, you know, yeah, it is what it is. It's very powerful.
Yeah. The last product I would recommend is a white ink. Mostly being, if you prime your model black, sprayed a white ink over it like a zenithal highlight, and that's gonna change a lot of things. If you're using a lot of contrast paints, doing a zenithal highlight is just gonna up the ad.
You can get your slap chop on that way.
Exactly. That's a really good way to get models out really fast if you're good with the contrasts.
Unless your army is grey, hey OB, and you can't do zenithal highlights because it doesn't work properly.
You could probably still do that.
Yeah, I tried. It turned out fucked. It looks better the way I do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not salty. You're salty.
Yeah. Things work. Things doesn't work. I highly recommend for a ink the Liquitex Titanium White.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
I'll definitely pick myself out some of that, I think.
Yeah, I want to get different colors too, like a magenta and some greens and stuff like that, to do like the good old classic undershadows of things.
Yeah,
I've been using
Purples.
I've been just using washes to do it with, and it works, but it's just too easy to spray too much of the wash and it just like spider webs open.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, happened a couple of times.
Spider webs.
Yep. Cool.
That's the worst. An optional one is a little spray booth, and a rebreather mask, so you can suck the fumes out of your painting area. Even with the airbrush booth on for OB, he still sees fog in his room every time he uses
it. Yeah. A good tip is also, if you're airbrushing, don't have your computer close by it. Yeah.
Man, so Shano, my little brother, was over, and we were doing a Star Wars model for him.
Yeah.
And I was airbrushing it, and my airbrush started clogging up, so I just started cleaning it. And the poor dude, he walked out of the garage, he walked back in, and he nearly died. Because I put probably a quarter of a bottle of airbrush cleaner through my airbrush with no booth. I'm just raw dogging it, you know? And he's like, dude, are you going to get cancer? I'm like, probably, but for the rebellion. For the X-Wing, you know? Yeah. So what I'm doing, not at the moment, in the future, I'm actually setting up the garage as my airbrush booth, and I'm going to have a 3D printer in there.
Yeah.
So all the stanky things are at that end of the house, you know?
Yeah.
And, just do it that way, because then I can put the little booth on and it'll help out. But,
yeah,
don't be silly, guys, obviously. I'm a dickhead, don't do what I do. Wear a fucking mask and shit, look after your lungs.
Yeah, that's I've done a couple of, days where I, use the airbrush for, a couple of hours. And, at the end of a session, your snot turns the color you're spray painting. Your lungs...
I was going to say, have you had the rainbow boogers?
Yeah, exactly. And I've actually had issues with my lungs when I've done long painting sessions too. So wear a mask, for real. It's it looks like bullshit, but it's take care of yourselves, guys. It's a good necessity.
I think I'm too asthmatic for it to actually enter my lungs.
Yeah, I'm asthmatic too, and that's why I probably got it even faster. So, why I mentioned not having your computer close by when you're airbrushing. I recently got a new graphics card, so that meant that I took my computer down and had it up on my desk, which meant I had to clean the fans because there was dust gathering into it, and the dust was all red. So there's probably a lot of paint particles inside of my computer already. So
either you're living on Mars or your blood angels entered your computer a little.
you have like a wire mesh in front of the fans, and exactly where the fans were, where the dust sucks in, it was all red dust, all Mephiston red. So yeah, don't have your computer close by.
There you go. See, we're learning things here today, guys.
Yeah. I make all the average mistakes so you don't have to.
Oh, that's funny. It's the last one. I think that's all you, Obi.
Cool. Yeah, so if you don't have the money to buy an airbrush booth, get like a cardboard box or like at least some cutting mat to protect your painting surface while you're working, because the paint will fly everywhere. And if you're mixing in the cup, you're probably using the old blowback technique, and that will splatter up paint from the painting cup everywhere. Most of you people know, I have recently finished my hobby room, and where I have the airbrush set up, that wall is already ruined because there's so much paint on there. It's like I have to repaint that wall again. Just
ruined
because.
Or an artwork in progress.
Ah, okay, you look at it that way.
Yeah, a pile of shame or a pile of opportunity.
Oh, correct. I'll just add a little frame around it, like Obi 2022.
Exactly. Look, if my paint pouring can be counted as art, so can your wall.
Perfect. Very cool.
Well, obviously we talk to everyone in the community and that sort of stuff. A lot of miniature painters, and everyone complains about how hard the airbrushes are to clean, or like how much effort they are. Oh, I don't want to pull it apart and clean it every time. Seriously, you don't need to clean it as much as you think.
Yeah.
Like when I was doing it, like I would just, when I'd run through a colour, once I'm done with it, I'd then run some water through, run a little bit of airbrush cleaner through, give it a black blow, and that's it. You know, when you're finished, you clean it proper after, but between colours, that's all you need.
Yeah.
You know? If you thin your paints properly, and, you know, clean a bit more when you empty your cup, like, that's basically all you have to do.
Yeah.
Like, between colours.
Yeah, between
it's
colours.
It's not that difficult. Yeah.
No, just a little bit of maintaining it while you're using it goes a long way. Like, if I'm oh, God, words.
Pray and spraying?
If I'm painting for a longer session, like, I don't clean it that much just when it clogs. And the way it can keep going is basically just keep your paint's thin enough, and just paint the cup out every time you either rinse the cup or when the paint's all done, or if you're changing colors, just clean it with a little bit of the back blow, like you mentioned, and it should be fine. So
yeah, you're the king of thinning though, Obi, so I'll let you take this next one.
About the thinning or cleaning?
Yeah. The thinning, man. I wing it to the nth degree, so I'm not going to give anyone any advice here. I just do what works for me.
Yeah. Okay. So, from my extensive YouTube researching and experimenting myself, actually, the thinning is kind of what I've done for myself. Is have a separate bottle with like a squeezy bottle, and it has like a pipe going into the reservoir, and you just squeeze it into the cup. Really good. It's probably mostly used by tattoo artists to clean off the the ink that's on your arm or wherever they're tattooing. So what I do there is fill this bottle with like 4 parts of thinner and 1 part of flow improver, shake it up a little bit, and then that mixture is ready to go pretty much any time.
I've never thought of that in my whole ass life.
Yeah,
that's genius.
I also use because you remember I had a syringe before that I sucked up the water from my water cup to fill in my wet palette. Now I use these bottles, so I have like 3 of these bottles: 1 with water, 1 with a thinner, and 1 with the airbrush cleaner.
I have like little squeezy bottles. Like you'd see, like what hair dye comes in, like those.
Yeah.
Like
I use
a little
those
ketchup bottle. I have those. Yeah. They're brilliant.
Those work fine. So thinning, 4 parts thinner, 1 part flow improver, and then what I do is squeeze a little bit in the cup, about like just a few drops in there, and equal amounts of paint, like 50-50. Usually, for my case, a little bit more thinner. Just, to keep yourself going while you're painting. The tip here is always use the thinner first. Never have the paint come in contact with the needle without thinning it first. If you're mixing in the cup, of course. Blake mixes outside of the cup.
Yeah. So, what I do, you can get, I'm sure they have them everywhere, but over here you can get little disposable shot glasses. So I think the red party cups, but tiny.
Yeah.
I bought a heap of those for really cheap. And I'll basically do that. I'll get my paintbrush and load up how much paint I need in there. And then I'll eyeball in my flow improver or my thinner or whatever I'm using. Yeah. And I tend to grab a whole bunch of those stirring sticks from Servos. Just like every time I get a coffee, I'll grab like 5 of them instead of 1. Use 1, keep 4, and just build up a supply, And then just fucking, use those bad boys to mix the paint, pour it in, and that works for me because then I know that I'm not putting unmixed paint in my cup, and I know that I'm not putting unthinned paint onto my needle.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if people don't know how airbrushes work, there's a little needle inside that when you pull back, it pulls the needle back.
Yeah.
And basically, if that needle gets clogged, your paint gets clogged. And the needle just won't move. So it can be quite finicky. Yeah. So you want to have that bad boy nice and lubed up with the fucking, like with your paint all thin, so it sort of just stays away from it rather than sticking to it.
Exactly. Another tip for when you're actually painting is, especially with a dual action one, press down for the air and then you pull back a little bit for paint, but always go back to just air. Never just like hold back for the paint and then release the trigger while still having the needle open, because that means that the paint will dry on the needle without being blown off of the needle. So you'll basically start your next use of the air with already splattering old paint on your model. So
can say from experience, I do this all the time, and it's a terrible thing to do. So don't do it.
Yeah, it's a good habit to get into, to have the air always going, basically. And I just pull back slightly and always go back forward. Pull back a little bit and just keep holding the air down. So one wicked
thing too. When you've done a nice coat on your airbrush, when you get confident with just using the air to blow it, you can actually dry your models quicker by blasting air at them. Yeah. Like, not blast it, but like, it's like a little wind tunnel for them. It's neat.
Yeah, exactly. And it will keep, like we said, the paint from the needle, the front part at least. So
yeah, exactly. So it's all good to go. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah. That's what probably saves me from not having to clean a lot of the times too.
I reckon that's why I have to clean more, because I haven't been doing that. So
yeah,
duly noted when I get my airbrush parts shipped in.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
Yeah.
Do you want me to take the cleaning section too?
Yeah, you can start, and then I'll come in.
Yeah. So for the cleaning, I also have a separate bowl with about 3-to-2 ratio of water and airbrush cleaner. Like I don't have the just straight up airbrush cleaner in there. I will use it sometimes if it's like a lot of dry paint in there. But otherwise, I thin the airbrush cleaner out with water, just so I have more airbrush cleaner to use. So
yeah,
this mixture, after you're finished spraying, just spray a little bit of that in there. Do the backblow thing. Pour it out in like I usually have like a waste bucket where I just pour the shit in. Pour what's remaining. Is that when
you go potty as well?
No.
No, that's outside in the hole I dug.
We're civilized here, okay? Who do it outside?
I'm imagining everything over there is flat packed, right? Like Sweden, like IKEA style. Like, let me just build this house. Okay, open the box, Sven.
Basically, yes. Yeah, so...
I love it. The convenience.
It's easy. It's so easy. You can just go and buy it and put it in like a tiny ass car and you can buy whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm assuming you have like an outhouse that was flat patch, right?
Yeah. Yes. It's like a party tent.
I love that. You'll need IKEA huts for your lake so you can do ice fishing. You know, just like IKEA that bitch up, go ice fishing.
Yeah.
We're talking.
Exactly. Cool. So when you're finished spraying, if you have some paint remaining, dump that in the little in the waste cup. Then you use the mixture, spray that in, make sure that it's gotten all wet in there. Use the blowback, dump it in the cup, and do that about like 2-3 times, and it should usually clean out your cup really good. When you see that it's really clear in there, you can blow it out. So never blow out while you're cleaning it until you're sure that it's relatively good clean in there. I think that's
tips for me.
Yeah, I think that's a thing that you're also doing a little bit wrong. Just blowing it straight through is instead pour it out and put in a little bit more mixture, and then when you see it's clean.
What I normally do is I have cotton tips next to me.
Yeah.
So I'll empty the cup of its paint, like usually you go through painting with it.
Yeah.
And then I'll usually put water straight in.
Yeah.
And just sort of run it around the cup like that to get it clean, blast out, do water a couple times.
Yeah.
And then I use the airbrush cleaner at the end.
Yeah.
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 So, but I did still dissolve 1 or 2 O-rings with my airbrush cleaner.
Yeah.
So, I don't remember which one it was, but pro tip, guys, if you really need to clean the airbrush and pull it apart, remove the O-rings. Then soak the parts in airbrush cleaner and water. Clean it, then put it back together and put the O-rings back on.
Yes. Yes.
Think, Blake.
Yeah.
I did not think, but that's okay. You know, I'm not hard on myself about it because you learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, that's it. Cool. So you, like we said, about 2 to 3 times for most paints is fine. However, I figured out that red paints, they will take a lot more times, like 4 to 5 times of the rinsing and pouring it out.
Yeah.
It's because red paints are just very, very pigment heavy. So they tend to...
I'm assuming like neon green and like ice blue would be similar as well. The very pigmenty colours.
Yeah, I haven't really experimented with those colors, but that's what I experienced with reds. It's the same when you're cleaning out your brushes when you've done red paints. Like the red paint will come out forever. It's I don't know what it is. It's probably the pigmentation. So
it's simple. Just buy cheap enough paintbrushes that you don't need to clean them.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that kind of technique, it takes you only about like a minute to maybe 1.5 minutes to get it ready for the next paint. I've been recommended this by Jono from Hobby Happy Hour, and I'll put the link.
Not a shout out, just saying.
Yeah, just saying. No shout outs. We don't do that here.
Just credit where credit's due.
Yeah. Yeah. So
they don't need our help.
Yeah, they're doing good. It's fine.
Real talk. Miss you boys. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Peace.
I'll add the link to the video that he recommended me from Vince Venturello in the Discord somewhere, or probably the episode discussion channel. So yeah, that's a real changer of how you will look at cleaning your airbrush, because it can go really fast, and of course when it starts clogging it will go wrong someday. You'll just have to take it apart a little bit more and clean it a little bit thoroughly.
Well, literally me, like, my whole thing was not working. And we sat here on cam, didn't we, while I pulled it apart and cleaned it all and shit.
Yeah.
Took me a good 2 hours to clean it properly because I left it get so bad.
Yeah.
But now it's pretty again.
Yeah.
It's just missing some O-rings. I don't know which parts it's from.
Whoops.
I think it's mostly one at the front here, and one where the cup is.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna steal the O-ring off of my other little cup to put on there. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. But like the O-rings aren't super expensive either to replace.
No, they're not. It's just annoying because I don't want to order them. I just want to use my airbrush.
Yeah.
You know?
That's it. So what have you used to actually like, what kind of techniques have you tried with your airbrush?
Man, so the big one that I'm very proud of, if anyone's seen it, is my Jurassic Park Dreadnought.
Yeah. Yeah.
That bad boy. So he's red up the top, and then it has like those, like the stripes. It comes down to a moot green to a yellow transition.
Yeah.
And how I did that, I came through with like a skag brown.
Yeah.
And I base coated all of his armor plates with that on the bottom half of him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came, is that how I did that? Yeah, that's how I did that. And then I painted that yellow, so it was a nice warm yellow. And then from there up, I did Abshabti bone, and then moot green on top of that. And then, so he was like super bright, really saturated. Then I got in there, and I, with a brush, and I did, like, I marked out where I wanted all of my stripes and that to be with the reds. With the fucking Abshabti bone. I did that, and then I did the red contrast paint and built my reds up that way.
Yeah.
With highlights and shit. And I just got a big brush and did all my shit that way. The other thing is too, I did a little bit of OSL on the Dreadnought with it. So I did the plasma like you do, like with the white and all that sort of stuff, and sort of made it overflowing through all the cracks in there. And then I sort of just got up close to where it would reflect onto the actual armor, which is the same light blue, and just like very lightly, just a touch. Like, it's so subtle that unless you're sort of really looking, you don't notice it. Yeah. But it does genuinely look like this guy's plasma cannon's firing and reflecting.
Yeah.
So that's the sort of stuff that I've done. I haven't done a huge amount else other than just like base coating and priming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think that's
your shit is wild though. The stuff you're doing is fucking wild. You get off those steroids, bro. You're leaving us all in the dust.
It's like working up with layers as well. Like, what I've started doing a lot with the airbrush is just prime it and then straight up the Mephiston red. But now lately I've been doing the Zenithal first, then doing a Mephiston red over it. It will leave the black parts like really dark.
Yeah, it would, yeah.
And then what I do after is I go in there with the Druchii Violet and just add purple shadows, and like that effect is just sublime. Like,
yeah, I love the way that looks.
It's really good, and like trying to get the blends with purple to light red, and then when you do your edge highlighting later on with your brushwork, you can just use the Mephiston red on the purple parts, and then just slowly work your way up to like an orange highlight for the red. Then and it just makes it pop so well.
That is one tip for you guys when you're doing reds. Just remember that mixing white with red on a red palette gives you pink. So it's okay to highlight with pink sometimes if that's the look you're going for. But generally speaking, you want, like, personally, I like a nice fluoro orange as my top highlight.
Yeah.
On the reds.
Mix with yellows instead.
Yeah, I just go straight up fluoro, like fucking high vis shit.
Oh, hell yeah.
So this is actually, I just grabbed it. No one can see because I'm on camera, but this is actually a craft store one that I'm going to try out because I'm finding a lot of the miniature ones, they're not thick enough.
Yeah.
They're too, like, layer paints too much. Like, there's just not enough pigment in there.
Yeah.
But this one seems a bit thicker. I'm hoping it'll be easier to do nice edge highlights with.
Yeah.
A bit less opaque. Or more opaque? I can't remember. I'm not an artist. I just work here.
I just paint things.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like when I play guitar. People are like, how did you play that? I'm like, I have no idea. Where did you learn it? I don't know.
I just did it. Just did it.
It just happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you the story? Did I ever tell you the story about how I learned how to do pinch harmonics? Have I told you that one?
I think you did. Yeah.
So
with the class.
I had no idea. Right? I was like, oh yeah, I could do pinch harmonics on the guitar, and it was always natural harmonics I was doing. I just didn't know better.
Yeah.
And then my friends were like, no, this is how you do a pinch harmonic. I couldn't get it. I could not get it. I practiced and practiced and practiced. I had bloody thumbs trying to grind through and hit that pinch harmonic. And then one day, I'm sitting there with a fucking tankard of rum in front of me, playing guitars, because like, I'm ADHD as fuck, so I'm always fiddling with my hands when I'm talking to people. Yeah. So when I used to have parties, I'd sit at the table and just strum away on the guitar while I'm talking. Like, just low volume, sort of just, no one cared. And then I did it. I was so drunk that my right hand was lazy and I struck the string. In the right way to do a pinch harmonic. I'm like, wait, what? And then I started doing it, and that was it. It was like an orc. My brain exploded. I knew how to do pinch harmonics. And that's basically how I draw. That's how I paint. I just walk through things, man.
So that's how you do it. Skill level unlocked.
Yeah. Like, my friend Marshall, he's trained in music, like, at the universities and shit. And he was watching me play, like, a solo a bit, and he's like, oh, yeah, you were smashing through the pentatonic scale. When did you learn that? And I'm like, what's a pentatonic? He's like, you don't know that that's what you're doing? I'm like, nah, man, I just play what sounds rad. Like, I don't fucking know.
Okay.
He's like, well, this is what you're actually doing. I'm like,
Yes, sophisticated.
Yes. Twirls mustache.
Yeah. Tips fedora. Hello.
Oh no. Oh no. Milady.
Yeah, I think besides getting the base coats on really fast is just such a big help, because especially now with all the shadow work I'm doing, it just makes it really cool.
Yep. The other sick thing is too, if you have Gundam models, you can do full color swaps.
Yep. Easily.
And not just that, this is what I use mine for as well. I've forgotten, but now I've remembered. My orc brain unlocked it. When I'm doing, like, say, a Gundam, I'll assemble it all, get all the nubs off and whatnot, and then I have, like, those alligator clips with the little bits of wire on the bottom, and I set all those bad boys up in a shoebox so it, like, holds them, and I actually just do the edges of the panel of armor with the, like, a couple of tints darker grey. So when it gets all put back together, it's like shadowing and like makes it look more realistic. Yeah. That on top of the panel lining looks fucking stellar. But what I do want to do is get some real grade or high grade kits when my airbrush is up and running and do complete palette swaps.
Yeah.
Like I want to do bonkers colours, you know?
Yeah. I
want to see how many Knights of the Hobby Table Gundams we can have.
Oh, I like that. Oh, I still have a Leo left to do. Maybe I should do one in the...
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's an idea.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I think besides, like, getting the base coats and everything done, it's just that. It just speeds up things so much more, just having the base coat ready. And then you just add the highlights to the armor and you're done. So then you just basically...
And those transitions.
Yeah, transitions.
I could never pull off that Jurassic Park thing without, like, really good wet blending without the airbrush. Like, and it would take so much time on a fucking Dreadnought too.
Yeah.
Could it be done? Yes, but I don't have that sort of time. You know?
Yeah, that's it. I think those are just the main things for me on why to use an airbrush. Is just the blends and just the time saving that you do with getting these really cool base coats.
Yeah, so long and short of it, stop being scared of an airbrush and just do it. The worst you can do is fuck it up like I have and then buy spare parts. Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
But the reward is much, much, much greater than the risk of jumping in on one.
Yeah.
Much greater.
Yeah, and it's the same with paint. Paint is so thin. Just, especially through the airbrush. Like, it doesn't even matter how many coats of airbrush paint you will put on. You will never, ever cake the model with so much paint that you will obscure the details. So just...
Yeah, exactly. Because if it's too thick, it just won't blow out of the airbrush.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not gonna... Yeah, exactly. So you can try different shit out.
Yeah, just paint on as much as you can. Of course, if you paint on and it's literally running down the model, you're doing too much. Just spray a little bit.
Ease up, turbo.
Yeah, spray up a little. Like, I'll usually do like left to right motions or up to down motions. And move the model around while you're doing it. So, like, you always have paint coming from different directions, hitting different points of your model. So, you don't flood the model with paint.
It's one of those common sense things, you know?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, if your guy looks like he's fucking oozing, ease up a bit.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's where the balance of, like, the amount of paint, how close you are, and the air pressure that you're doing is coming with. Then you're also having to add the combination of, like, just up and down movements or left to right movements just to do, like, thin coats while you're not flooding the model with paint. So I think that's pretty much the key things that we can give you of this episode. I mean, it's kind of the same with regular painting, right?
Buy an airbrush.
It's kind of like...
There's nothing to it but to do it, man.
Yeah.
You just gotta get the fuck in there and rip that band-aid off and do it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. One more thing that you can do with airbrushing really fast and quick is clear coating your models, so you will protect them from dust and manage handling them with your fingers, which for some reason hasn't really worked that well for me. So,
but it's worked great for me.
Yeah, so, I don't know. More coat's a clear coat for me.
Yeah, like just clear that motherfucker up big time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and usually what you can do is use gloss first and then matte after, or satin.
Yeah.
I think the matte finish is a lot nicer, to be honest, especially for our kind of styles of painting.
Yeah, for sure. I use the gloss literally as a I actually use it on my paintbrushes for doing gems and stuff.
Yeah,
I just use it as a gloss varnish now, and it's good to have there. It wasn't too expensive, so. But it's good to know that if I do a Gundam, and I want certain parts to be super duper shiny, I can use the gloss.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
Basically, don't be shit. Get an airbrush. It's fun.
Yeah, it will help you
And if
out. Like you said, the pros are way more than the cons on this one.
Yeah, exactly. And, me and Obi are always around the Discord and shit, so if you got a question, just ask, man. We're happy to help with our knowledge, and if we don't know, maybe we can help you find a video and a solution, and then we'll learn when you learn,
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what it's about, this community. It's about us all learning together and hobbying together. So it's cool.
Very cool.
Sweet.
So that ramps up the episode for today, I guess. So
For the airbrush stuff.
Yeah.
Now we're going to talk about music, which is the only reason I come here.
The main reason why we're here, right? Which is also, we're going to talk a little bit about Wrapped, actually.
That's right. We're going to wrap it up with
Spotify recently did the 2022 Wrapped thingy where they just show you what your top artists are and whatever. And it's always surprising to see who comes on top. Although I think for me this year it's quite obvious. Yeah.
There's a lot of show.
There's a lot of it in there.
Mine was very surprising.
Yeah?
Very surprising. Yeah.
Alright.
I can't wait to run through this. So,
you want to start?
Alright, do you want me to run through it first? Yeah, I'll run through it first. That's fine. I got some of them saved. We'll do that. So, overall, I've listened to 76,127 minutes of music of Spotify this year, which is more than 96% of listeners in Australia.
Yeah.
So, top 4%, I think that's pretty dapper. Now, my top artists from number 5 is Amon Amarth. Number 4 is Necrogoblicon. Number 3, Sabaton. Number 2, Korn. And would you like to guess number 1 if I haven't told you it yet?
It's Ghost.
It is Ghost. And that astonished me.
Yeah.
Because apart from that new album they released, I barely remember listening to Ghost this year. So I don't know where I was at the start of the year, man. I guess I was just really waiting for that album. But I listened to 5,795 minutes of Ghost. I'm in the top 0.5% of their listeners. So
wow.
There is that. My top songs... This Is It by Necrogoblicon. Call Me Little Sunshine by Ghost. Forgotten by Korn. Soldier of Heaven by Sabaton. And Hunter's Moon by Ghost.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. What do you got?
Alright. For me, I played 3,600 songs. But these played again and again. Oh, the minutes. How many minutes I did? I did roughly about half of what you listened to.
Whoa!
36,937 minutes. That's more
you
than...
got some catching up to do, brother.
Yeah, that's... Well, there's been a couple of months where I don't listen to music much at all. So I probably lost about 4 or 5 months of not listening to music that much.
So, what percentage in Sweden are you there?
More than 85% of listeners in Sweden.
Okay. Yeah. So, Sweden's just doing poorly in general in this regard.
Yeah. So, I have 36,000 different artists I listen to.
Whoa! I don't know how many I had.
Yeah. So, my top songs are... Cursed to Die by Lorna Shore. Number 4 is Into the Earth by Lorna Shore. Number 3 is Pain Remains Dancing Like Flames by Lorna Shore. The second one is Sun Eater by Lorna Shore.
I I bet number one's Taylor Swift or something.
Actually, it's Fit for an Autopsy, Far From Heaven.
Ah,
Yeah.
good band.
Good.
Well,
There
you
you
just
go.
done the deathcore this year. That's all you've done.
Honestly, the last 2 months, for real, it's definitely been like that. Let's see what
That's
my top
funny.
because Korn was also in my top artists. I don't know if I
We both like Korn a lot.
yeah. No, I get
Yeah, that's alright, man. I'm amazed that Necrogoblicon wasn't number one. It was last year, if I remember. No, wait. No, last year it was Unleash the Archers, then Necrogoblicon.
Mm-hmm.
And then the year before that it was Necrogoblicon at number one. So the fact that it slipped to number three, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what Ghost did, right?
Yeah, like it's sometimes it's surprising what pops up, but for me it was pretty obvious because I literally listened to the Pain Remains album like pretty much daily, and one day I listened to it like 6 times. So
that's insane.
yeah, just that album too. So it's
a great album too.
Exactly. All right, my top artist. This one is actually really surprising. The first one is Fit for an Autopsy. The second one is Lorna Shore. The third one is Korn. Now, take a wild guess what number 4 and 5 are.
Okay, I'm gonna say Muse.
Guess one more.
And Bring Me the Horizon.
No. Very wrong.
No?
Number 4.
Oh, good. I'm glad, because both those bands suck.
Number 4 is League of Legends.
How was I ever going to guess that?
Yeah. Okay. And number 5 is a guy named A. Yarmak. He makes lo-fi metal music. If you remember when Bowen was still around, I had like a phase where I was listening to lo-fi metal.
Yeah.
It's somewhere that got stuck in the list with deathcore and stuff. It's like, okay.
When Bowen was still around before he died.
Rip in pieces, that my guy. Yeah, so that was really interesting to go through, to be honest. Especially the top artists. The top songs, I definitely knew that was coming. It was just surprising that the Pain Remains trilogy wasn't in there completely.
I played 3,000 different songs. What else we got? Hold on, we're going through still. I listened to 423 artists this year.
Okay, so I got
That's not many compared to you.
Yeah, I listened to more artists, definitely.
But this is what's going to blow your tits off. How many times do you think I listened to my top song?
I would say around 50 times.
I listened to This Is It by Necrogoblicon 117 times.
Wow. Mine was 63 times the Far From Heaven from Fit for an Autopsy.
That's insane, man.
Yeah. Wow.
That's how Kino was for New Goblins. Because I think that's the first track on the new album too, right? Like, that they put it out.
This Is It?
Well, it's like...
This is now.
It's one of them anyway. Yeah. No, it's crazy times, man. I actually love that little Spotify rap thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's real fun to track what you listen to.
And it's really cool that they made like the 100 top songs of that year, because it reflects what you've been going through in the year too. Like my music tastes changes according to my mood a lot, and I can get stuck in a certain mood. I can get stuck in a mood for like probably like a week or two, and then I'll move on to something else. But it feels like the deathcore mood stuck around really long this time. So
Yep. How much podcasts did you listen to?
Like minutes of podcasts.
Hold on, let's see.
So
what's the first one? So I listened to 9,600 minutes of podcasts.
Okay, I listened to somewhere around 6,000 for me.
Alright. What are your top 5 podcasts?
Alright. Number 5 is Star Lores. Number 4 is our own podcast. Before I started editing it, because then I had enough of listening to it 3 times. Lorehammer is number 3. The Hobby Happy Hour is number 2. And Lorehammer Listener Lore is number 1.
Oh, okay. Contentious. So mine, number 5 is Lorehammer.
Mm-hmm.
Big ups to the boys.
Yep.
Number 4 is a podcast called Retrovaniacs. It's a retro games podcast.
Yeah.
Number 3 is our podcast because my jokes make me laugh. No, seriously, number 3 is us. And that's because I don't edit, so I usually always listen back to it.
Yeah. It's good to have somebody that listens to it back. Because
yeah, exactly.
I listen to, like, when I'm editing it, I'm listening to it, but I'm going back and forth all the time in between times and stuff. So
you're done with it.
Yeah.
So number 2 is Star Laws.
Oh, okay.
And number 1 is Distractable.
Huh, I don't even know what that one is about.
Oh, dude, you gotta check out Distractable. It's funny as fuck. It's Markiplier and his buddy's podcast.
Okay.
It's very funny. It gets a good giggle out of me. Yeah. It's just very lighthearted and chill. But yeah. No, not a single other rival hobby podcast in here, that's for sure. No.
Nah, for me it was basically all just friends.
You know all the people on all those podcasts?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's right. Markiplier, if you want to be my friend, hit me up, alright? We'll link on the show. Big star.
Exactly. Oh, so yeah. That was a little different music section this time. And I think...
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a couple of albums that we want to review as well, but we'll take those, I probably assuming next time.
Well, we have something a little bit more special for next time, actually.
Oh, yeah.
You remember.
I do, but I didn't want to spoil it. I didn't want to spoil it.
We're not spoiling anything.
Okay.
But you remember.
Maybe I do.
Wait till we start doing video feed of this one day, because like the faces I pull while we record and the shit I do while we're recording, like, I'm just sitting here like fucking bobbing my head around like a Funko Pop and some motherfucker's dash half the time, doing weird faces to Obi like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
Y'all are gonna lose your shit.
Yeah, video feed is definitely something I want to get going because it'll.
Yeah. Well, that's a potential thing for the future.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see how we go this year.
Exactly.
For sure. But don't bug us about it, or I won't do it. I don't know. Give us enough Patreon money and I'll do it.
I succumb to peer pressure.
Yeah, that's right. I succumb to cold hard cash.
Wait, is it actually you that can be bought, not me?
Yes. Well, it's funny actually. One of the guys the other day was like, "Oh, why don't you guys do weekly episodes?" And I'm like, "Well, the amount of time it takes to write, record, edit, and release these episodes, we don't have physically enough time with our full-time jobs to do it."
Yeah.
But I was like, if we get enough patrons for you and I to both drop a day a week of work without taking a hit to the pocket, then I'm happy to do weekly episodes.
Yeah.
But until then, this is our maximum.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a bonus episode here and there if we can feel it chirpy, but this is the maximum workload right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, you know, we're doing socials, we're doing merch stuff, we're hanging out with the people in Discord.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
There's a lot of heretics to be killed. I mean, what?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, exactly. But that being said, so, you know, if you guys would like to see us push forward like that, you know, do your part. You know, I'm sure a lot of people give money to Disney or Netflix or that sort of shit. If you enjoy a podcast, you like hanging out with us, help us keep the lights on, help Obi's water bowl stay full, help me keep lasagna in my freezer.
I spilled paint in it this time.
Oh no. Well, I hope it's the grape flavored one, because that's all you're getting. But yeah, so our Patreon, it's there. We got it. We got some really cool patrons. I think we have new ones, actually.
Exactly, we do. 2 new ones.
Yeah. Alright. Well, first of all, we have Mr. Bixer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct.
Good old Bixer.
And the second one being Mr. Panda, Acid Panda.
Yeah, the Acid Panda, my 2 British homies.
Exactly.
Thanks for the support, guys. We really do appreciate it, truly. Yeah, it's great.
Do you want to know the story of why Panda signed up to the Patreon?
I would love to. I don't think I was there for it.
Okay, so this is the beta time for Darktide, and Paul is like, okay, everybody needs to play Darktide, so Panda, give me your Steam code and I'll add you, and I'll buy the game for you. And it's like, Panda's like, no, I'm not giving that to you. I will be genuinely upset with you if you do that. It's like, okay, Obi, give me Panda's Steam account and I'll add him that way. And I was like, I could give him your code, I guess, right? And then Panda was like, I'll join the Patreon if you don't give my account to him. I was like, okay, well, he could just find you through my friends list. So I didn't tell him what your account name is. So he joined.
It's a win-win.
Yeah. So he joined the Patreon because of that. So thank you very much. You got some stuff in the mail already. So
it was a win-win.
Yeah. Very cool.
That's mad. Awesome. Yeah, well, beside that, we have Discord. Join us on Discord. We have Facebook and Instagram, but we don't use them much. So, whatever. Come hang out on Discord and shoot heretics with us.
Yep. Very keen for heretics killing.
Exactly. I mean, if you find the podcast entertaining, by any stretch, wait until you talk to me and Obi when we're not recording shit. We're just spitting shit. We're infinitely more entertaining in person on the Discord.
Yeah, you can get the really fun little snippets live.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think I'm good. I think I'm done here.
Mm-hmm.
You done here? You done brushing air?
I have brushed all the air there is.
Well, with that, I must say, remember to crank that app.
Good sir, why don't you slay that grey?
We are the Knights of the Hobby Table.
Bye.
I don't know why I did that. See you guys.
Hell yeah, bye dudes.